I would like to do that, but Andrew,
Andrew, you're muted, I think.
Andrew still didn't answer my very basic debating 101 question. He pivoted to abortion. I asked him, are you a very basic question that I think anybody would answer, no matter what your answer is. When Donald Trump attacked the service of John McCain, and by the way, I'm not a Ron DeSantis fan. I'm not a J.D. Vance fan. But one thing I would never do is crap on their military service, which I respect very much. Donald Trump said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured. This question has nothing to do with abortion. Are you okay with that? And are you comfortable supporting a man who attacks a POW because he was captured? That question has nothing to do with abortion. I don't care what your system comes from, or quite frankly, I don't care what your religion is. This is Andrew Wilson versus Brian Shapiro, my opinions versus yours. I'm not okay with anybody, let alone somebody who's running for president of the United States, crapping on somebody's military service and saying you don't respect somebody because they were captured. Oh yeah, by the way, Donald Trump dodged the military multiple times.
All right, hold on a second. I think Andrew's
we're
microphone's having trouble.
I think we're good. You guys can hear me okay. So, Brian, do you understand what granting a position means in a debate?
I absolutely do, and I'm not going to be talked down to.
So if I'm granting... So if I'm Brian, shut up. It's my turn.
Brian, you just did a monologue for a while.
Stop spurging, Brian.
You asked me a question,
Brian, stop spurging, Brian. Listen.
You asked me a question.
Stop spurging, Brian. Stop spurging, Brian.
Don't ask me a
Brian,
question.
stop spurging out. Just
listen.
Just listen to what I'm saying to you. You already answered the question. So the thing is like, if it is the case that I'm granting the position, what I would need from you is why it would actually be unethical if I give you this thing, which is the paramount to my ethical system. In this case, it would be abortion, 600,000 lives per year. Even if I granted the COVID thing, let's say that Trump killed 1 million people due to mishandling of COVID-19. Over the long term, there's still going to be way more aborted babies than any death toll Trump had during COVID. So if it's the case, you have to tell me again, Brian, what could possibly trump that for a Christian? What could trump that when I have a choice between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? She's going to expand these rights for abortion, enshrine them into law, right? Thus, killing way more, from my worldview, people, human beings. What would ever trump that? Why would I have voted for her instead? Why? Can you tell me that or not?
There a lot of different reasons why. I can go into this, but why I think Kamala Harris would have been a far better candidate. First of all, I don't believe we would have been headed towards a recession. I don't believe we would have had to deal with the tariffs. I don't believe Kamala Harris would have rolled out.
Would she have expanded abortion rights, though, Brian?
Andrew, it's my turn now, right?
Would she have expanded abortion rights?
Andrew, smoke a cigarette.
Can you answer the question? Would she have expanded abortion rights?
Andrew, you don't get to just ask a question.
Would she have expanded abortion rights, Brian?
Okay, so Andrew, you're supposed to be the master debater. That means let me.
I just want you to answer one question.
Guys, if we keep on going back and forth like this, we're going to need to do a cross-examination. So maybe 20 minutes each. Do you guys want to do that? 20 minutes each of cross-examination, or do you want to just answer each other's questions?
I would like to finish answering Andrew's question before he asks me another one. He asked me about Kamala Harris, right, Andrew? You asked me why should I have voted for her over Donald Trump?
No, that's not what I asked you.
He asked why from his perspective.
Listen very closely to what I asked you so that you understand what I'm saying to you. From my Christian worldview, abortion is murder. It doesn't matter what you think, Brian. It matters, in this case, what I think. That's my worldview. That's my interpretation of the world, okay? That's my ethical system. Yours is based on whatever Brian thinks, right? So it's just as valid for me, I guess, to say whatever Andrew thinks.
Sure.
I consider each of these things, I consider each abortion a murder. I consider each abortion a murder. So if that's the case, there's 600,000 murders per year going on inside of this nation. Trump moved to overturn Roe v. Wade, thus moving the goal to cancel the idea of women being able to have abortions. Kamala Harris was going to expand this and enshrine it, meaning that over the long term, over many, many, many years, Kamala Harris, from my worldview, would have killed a drastically higher amount of people than anything you could ever pin on Trump, including COVID. If that's the case, what would be the compelling reason over that from a Christian worldview for why I should have voted for a woman who would expand that? That's my question.
So if it's going back to the abortion issue, which obviously we disagree upon, and you move the goalpost, as I said, millions of people died of COVID, and I think in part because of Donald Trump's lack of leadership during COVID, and your response to that was, well, more people would have died in the future from abortions, and you use the term murder. I fundamentally disagree with you on that issue. We've established that, Andrew. I disagree. I don't think abortion is murder. You do, and
Can
I
you
don't
just
care.
steel man my position so I know you know it? What is my position here? What am I? What's the question I actually asked you?
Okay, you think abortion is murder, clearly, and when you say that Kamala and Donald Trump stopped the killings of unborn babies, you're trying to ask me the question, from my perspective,
Yes.
why should I have voted for Kamala Harris? My view. I completely
Yes.
disagree with your view, and here's why.
Okay. Why?
I don't believe
Oh, you don't believe?
that. Well, that's what this conversation is about, Andrew.
Well,
We're
I
not
do
talking about
believe,
script.
Brian. So where does that get us? I do believe, and
Andrew,
you don't believe.
Andrew, calm down for a moment. These are my opinions and your opinions.
Okay.
You can laugh and be very condescending and be a jerk when we have a conversation. Okay, Andrew, which is it going to be?
Okay.
You could either
I'm listening,
condescending-
Brian. I'm
Okay.
listening.
Hey, here's the difference, Andrew, between me and a lot of other people you debate. I don't tolerate condescension. Okay, which is what you're doing right now. You're not better than me. Your religion isn't better than me. And quite frankly, I could care where your beliefs come from. Stop laughing. Stop being a jerk, and we can have a respect.
Brian, this is. Do you understand? Do you understand? Like,
You
do you
keep
even
starting
understand the
a-
ethical system?
Stop. You
Stop.
keep starting the sentence with, "Do you understand?"
Do you understand it?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
You like to make it sound like you're smarter than everybody else, and you're extremely condescending. Andrew, I have news for you.
Okay.
You're not. Your religion doesn't make you better than me. Your system doesn't make you better than me. Stop the laughing. Let's have a conversation and stop being a jerk.
Okay.
All right, so
listen-
I'm just going to quickly
listen-
interrupt, guys. I just
Yeah.
want to quickly say, so the debate prompt is obviously, is it ethical to support Donald Trump? And so we have to sort of pin on the other person why they are unethical for supporting Donald Trump based upon whatever ethical system. So Andrew has the Christian ethical system. Brian, you've got your own ethical system as well. And then the idea here is that we have to say why it's unethical for that person to support Donald
And
Trump.
so here's my argument. My argument is very simple, and it has not been refuted. It's not even being engaged with. It's a very simple argument. From my ethical purview, which Brian can't dispute, right? Because his is all preference based. Therefore, my preferences should be just as valid as his. I believe that abortion is murder. Brian believes abortion is not murder. Okay, great. We've established that. But what we're trying to do is determine whether or not the other person is doing a thing which is unethical. In this particular case, he would need to give me a more convincing argument than 600,000 babies dead per year, and why I would support a candidate who would enshrine that as a right, as over the long term, this would create an insurmountable amount of death from my worldview of innocent lives. So until he can establish whatever that is, then the alternative of me supporting the candidate who is rolling back abortion and Roe v. Wade is the most ethical position from the Christian viewpoint. And that's what I actually want him to contend with, and he just won't.
Sure. I want to respond to how ridiculous this is. So let me just explain. Andrew has made the hard line case that abortion is murder, which obviously we've established I disagree with. And because your claim of Donald Trump stopping 600,000 abortions and saving 600,000 lives, anything that Donald Trump says or does that doesn't rise to your definition of what abortion is to that level, then I'm defending my own position, and you can't beat me in this debate, is the most ridiculous. Let me tell you something. I've been doing this for
It's
like
an
22
argument from
years.
incredulity. I need an actual argument, Brian.
Okay, I have an actual argument.
give
but
it
you're
to
just
me.
gonna hide,
What
you're
is
going
it?
to hide behind your fake Christian religion. This isn't going to go the way you
Oh,
want it
fake,
to.
fake Christian?
I think you're a fake person. Yes, I do, Andrew, and I can give you examples as to why. Okay.
I thought
You want-
so now we want to get personal, do we?
This is I think this is a fake debate because you want to hide behind Christianity instead of just
That's
having
my
a-
ethical system, Brian. That's my
Well,
ethical system.
My ethical system tells me that I don't like fake people that hide behind their religion. That's my system.
Oh,
I got
well,
it
my
from
system
family.
says that you shouldn't hide
That's my
behind your
system.
preferences. Where have we
Okay,
established
well,
here?
My preferences are I don't put on a fake Christian cross and defend a liable sexual abuser and a 34 count felon and then hide behind your abortion argument. He can't do anything as bad as
Can
killing
you give me an
600,000
argument?
babies.
Can you give me an argument?
Sure, I
What
will
is it?
give you an argument.
What is
Let's start with a very basic foundation.
Okay.
From a foreign affairs issue, so hopefully we can get off this abortion debate because quite frankly it's tiresome. I
We're not
understand.
debating abortion. We're debating ethics.
Yeah. Well, your definition of abortion is a kill, and it's your basis behind your entire argument. And I can't believe you don't even.
That's the
understand.
basis of my ethics, Brian. You haven't
okay,
given
well,
me any standard for your ethics. You have given me no
Okay,
standard.
I've given you plenty of standards.
No, you just say
okay?
because I believe it because I believe it. That's your whole standard. Brian believes what he believes because he believes
Okay.
it.
So, is it unethical to cheat on your wife? Is that unethical?
From the Christian view, it is, yes.
Okay. So that's maybe we can agree on that. I don't like Donald Trump's sexcapades. I think it sets a very bad example for the country when you're the leader of the free world. Is by your ethical
Hang on,
standards,
one point at a time. Let's start with this one. Let's start with this
Sure.
one. So we established that you and I both think cheating on your wife is unethical.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the thing is, though, is that would it make me unethical to vote for a man who cheated on his wife if he did a policy, right, which valued a higher kind of ethical authority that I have? So in this case, guy cheats on wife 3 times, but also stops 600,000 people from getting fucking aborted per year. Hang on, Brian. Hang on. Why would it then be unethical for me to support that man for president? That's what we keep getting back to because you won't engage with that argument. You won't engage with it.
We don't keep going back to that. You keep
because
going
that's
back
my
to
argument, Brian.
Hold on.
That's my argument.
Your entire argument, no matter what Donald Trump does. For example, let's just say Donald Trump molested a child on video. Would your defense be, well, he hasn't killed 600,000 babies? Now I'm asking you your standard here. If Donald Trump was seen on a camera, God forbid, if raping a child and then killing one child, would your defense be, well, I'm still supporting him because he saved 600,000 babies' lives and abortion is illegal in this many states?
No.
Would that be
and let me explain why. So from the ethical view, there can be things which I would consider trivial dalliances, meaning things which are forgivable. And then there would be things which I would consider to be or you could maybe forgive them from the Christian view, right? But it'd still at least be an immediate disqualifier from any support in the future because hang on, stop. Because the thing was so egregious and over the top in comparison to this other thing. From a strict utilitarian view, you could make the argument, of course, that yes, you would still support him 600K lives against that, but I'm not a utilitarian and I don't view ethics the same way as utilitarians do. So hang on. So what I'm going to say to you is like, is him cheating on his wife enough for me to not support him in comparison to abortion, where he has the potential to save 600,000 unborn people, per year? The answer is, of course, I will do that over the opposition, who would enshrine that into law. What choice would I have to make the ethical decision there, Brian? What other choice would I even have?
I'm trying to get to the bar where you put aside for a moment your take on abortion and 600,000 unborn babies. You made the case that you probably, I think this is what I got from your answer, you probably wouldn't support Donald Trump if right now he molested a child on video.
Yeah,
if
you did something which was so egregious rather than trivial.
And I want to know what that is. That's what I want to know. I want to know where that is, where you think it's so egregious. Andrew Wilson cannot support Donald Trump anymore. So it's molesting a child. Is that fair to say? Is that a fair assessment of your opinion?
I think if you rape kids, that would be a deal breaker for me altogether, yes.
Okay, fair enough. What if he was, at one point, the best friend of one of the biggest sex traffickers in the world? He bragged about grabbing women by the genitals. He admitted on camera to sexualizing his own daughter, saying, "Boy, I would date her."
Yeah, these are moving into very trivial criticism. So
trivial,
trivial criticisms. You would have to demonstrate with evidence that Donald Trump ever raped anybody, which you can't do. And you would have. Oh, I'm sorry. Rape.
No, I said I didn't say he raped.
Exactly.
Anyone.
And you can't say with any evidence that he ever molested any children at all. So the thing is that these things within the purview to test the ethical system are fine, but you would need to give me an example now of something that's so egregious that he would do that I would not forgive whatever that trivial detail was in comparison, hang on, to this other very egregious detail of 600,000 dying per year from my view. Do you understand? Yeah, well, but Brian, remember, we're just talking about our opinions because you have no ethical system other than my opinion.
But again, I just want to be very clear. It's your opinion that abortion is murder. very
And
different.
it's just
from
your opinion that it's not, right?
right.
Okay,
right.
so then we're on
so
totally
every
equal
single
playing field
time-
here because you have no ethical system other than opinion.
Okay, so first of all, to be clear, every single time I bring up a fact or something that Donald Trump has said or something that Donald Trump has done or something that is extremely egregious, at least in my eyes, your sort of debate on this or your defense of it is always going to go back to, well, he overturned Roe versus Wade. He got, people on the Supreme Court to overturn Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, do you understand? Hang on, Brian. Do you understand why I'm doing that? Is because I'm giving you an ethical purview from the Christian view. From the Christian view, do you agree with me? Most Christians consider abortion murder. Most, not all, but most do. Most.
I don't. I would say that most evangelical Christians do,
and Orthodox and Catholics also.
But there is a fine line difference between the way I want to live my life and if I don't.
I understand that these aren't your. I understand these are not your preferences. I get that. I understand that these do not. You don't share this value structure. We're not talking about your value structure. Your value structure is just your preference. Things that Brian likes. My value structure is Christian ethics, so I fit in the box. Hang on. So, but because of that, in my worldview, you do concede that we consider abortion murder, right?
I think you do.
Do you concede that the Catholic Church, their official position on it is that abortion's murder?
I've spoken to priests that do not consider abortion to be murder.
I didn't ask you what a priest says individually. I asked you what the official stance of the church is.
I believe the official stance of the church is that what you are referring to. But
it's the official stance of the Orthodox Church, which I am an Orthodox. Hang on, not a Roman Catholic. I'm an Orthodox Christian, and most evangelicals share this view. So, from our ethical worldview, you're fucking these women are murdering people. That's our ethics. So, if that's the case, when you ask me, Andrew, what about this trivial dalliance? He made fun of a Gold Star family, or he did this, or hang on, he said Haitians ate cats, or whatever the fucking criticism is, right? Which one of these dalliances or trivial things that you would attack Trump on would ever trump the fact that 600,000 murders per year are going on here, and he put in the mechanisms to stop it, and they're still moving against it. He overturned Roe v. Wade, and the only other person I had an option to vote for would have attempted to enshrine it in law. That's what I'm asking you for. Can you make an argument against that?
So, the abortion issue with you is far more important than someone who incites an insurrection. The abortion issue for you is far more important than a man who's literally stolen $1 billion in a crypto scandal. The abortion issue for you is more important than rolling out the red carpet for evil, murderous dictators. The abortion issue...
Wait a second. What do you mean dictator?
You don't think Vladimir Putin is an evil dictator?
Well, okay, I didn't know you were referencing him. I thought you were referencing Trump.
Rolled out the red, I figured when I said rolling out the red carpet for an evil dictator, you would understand I was talking about
I didn't
Vladimir
catch the
Putin.
rolling out the red carpet. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. No problem. I would think that, or you think that apparently, that abortion is a more important issue to you than a man who is literally okay with Pete Hegseth and his cronies murdering people on boats. You care more about the abortion issue than apparently 20 million people that are going to lose their health care coverage, millions of people that are going to lose their food stamps. You care more about abortion than Donald Trump inviting the prince, the Saudi prince.
Yeah, I know all the talking points.
Is a murderer.
Yeah. So let's go through these. So let's go through these one at a time. Let's start with rolling out the red carpet for a dictator. From a Christian worldview, if we believe you're murdering 600,000 people per year, do you think from our view, it would be more important that Trump rolled out the red carpet, even if I granted it, for Vladimir Putin, or that he put a stop to those 600,000 murders per year? Which thing would you think, from my ethical viewpoint, be more ethical to support?
I guarantee you Vladimir Putin is responsible for more than 600,000 innocent deaths. Do you not care about that? Is that not part of your...
That has nothing to do with Trump. So the thing is like, what we have to do, well, that's what you just said a million times. This is about Trump. So tell me, from my view, which thing from my view, from a Christian ethical view, would you say would be more important for a Christian? Which thing would be more important? Which thing?
So here's why.
Can you just answer the question? Which thing from my view would be more important? Obviously and logically.
The way this is going to work, Andrew, is I'm going to answer it the way I want to answer it, not
You're
the way
not going to answer it.
not the way Christian Andrew. Well, you're not answering any of my questions. You always go back to abortion, and it's impossible to have
I'm
debate.
granting your arguments. I'm granting everything you're saying is being true, and still showing you the ethical implication.
What do you mean you're granting me? He did roll out a red carpet.
Yeah,
for Andrew
but
Wilson.
even if
Not
that's
granting anything.
but Brian, don't you understand that even if that's the case, and I just grant that this is true, I don't even contest it. Why, from my worldview, would that be more important than the 600,000 deaths per year?
Sure.
Why? Can you answer me that?
Again, you're going back to abortion, but I will. There are millions and millions of people in this country, children that are starving. There are millions of people in this country.
Where are these starving
who
children?
need, government assistance. It's called food stamps.
Those kids aren't starving. They're
now-
not starving. You just made that up, Brian.
I actually didn't.
If you
because
show
I've
me a
actually-
starving child in this country right now, I will feed them right this second. Show me one.
Okay, so I could literally tell you that last night driving in North Las Vegas on the way home,
Yeah.
I saw families and children living on the streets, not knowing where their next meal is going to be from. The fact that you aren't even aware of this.
How do you
makes
know? Did you stop and ask them,
very
Brian?
cinema.
Did you stop and ask them?
Here's how I knew.
Yeah, how
Andrew.
did you know?
When you don't have a place to live and you're living on the streets and you don't have a shower, and there are people that are struggling and don't know where they're going to get their next meal from.
How do you know
This
that
is
was
why-
the condition of these people,
why-
Brian? How do you know that? Did you even ask
You're
them?
right, Andrew. People that were living on the streets that have been living
How do you
there
even
for-
know that they were living on the street, Brian? How do you
Right.
know?
Sure, I can give you that answer, and I think it's pathetic that you
Give
would
me the
even
fucking
ask
answer
that
then.
question.
Give it to me.
Okay.
What is the answer?
We're live on the radio, so I don't
Oh,
think
I'm
we
sorry.
have to use.
I'm
the
sorry,
F
I
word.
didn't know. I didn't realize you couldn't say the F word on. Okay, go
Just
ahead.
don't talk to me like you talked to that chick a few weeks ago. I would appreciate a little bit more respect from that. So
Give respect,
first of
but I'm
all,
showing respect.
okay, well, I'm trying to be very respectful here because this debate is.
Well, you won't even
no,
engage. You won't engage with the point that I'm making over and over and
No,
over. You
I
just
totally
refuse.
understand. Let me be very clear. I totally understand the point that Andrew's trying
And what's
to
the
make.
counter argument?
Okay, the counter argument is number one. First of all, there are a lot of people that don't agree that abortion is murder. I'm one of them. So going by your system, there he goes with that feminine
Well,
laugh.
because Brian, you said
Going
all
by
ethics
your-
are is a set of
Going
preferences.
by your ethical system,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what Donald Trump does, what he says, or the lives that he is responsible for if it doesn't go to the extent of 600,000
What's
babies.
the
raped
argument
and
then?
aborted.
What is the
That's
argument?
not an argument that you're making.
Yes,
it's a
it's an
joke.
argument.
Andrew. It's a joke.
Do you,
now I'm
do
going
you,
to
so you don't have an argument? You have no counter argument at all.
I have plenty of arguments if you'd like to listen.
What's
now,
the hang on? But what's the counter argument to this? So what you're saying, hang on, Brian. What you're saying is this: you're saying, Andrew, listen, you and I have different ethical systems. Yeah, no shit. That's established, right? Both of us have different ethical systems. That's why I spent the entire beginning part of this trying to establish what your ethical system was, so that we could have a conversation. It's just reduced to Brian's preferences. If that's the case, then whatever you prefer is only as valid as everything I prefer. And if that's the case, if
your religious
hang on,
preference.
if that's the case, it's not just preference, then what is it?
This argument is based on your religious preferences.
Sure.
I don't care. Okay, hold on. I don't care what your religion is.
Well, then
And
how
here's
do you
why.
have an ethical debate then?
Hey, here's why. Because there are people out there
Yeah.
that are extremely religious people. They're like Donald Trump's former pastor who has molested kids who is in jail right now.
Good, that's where he
the
belongs.
reason- Hold on. There are people out there that preach their religion
Yeah.
every single day. They call themselves people of God. They
Mm-hmm.
go to church every Sunday. And these are some of the same people that cheat on their husbands or wives, that commit horrible crime. This is why I say I don't give an F what Andrew Wilson's religion is. What I do care about is the President of the United States, who attacks Gold Star families, who attacks women of color, who has no problem in allowing people from South Africa that are 100% grant that amnesty, won't do that for anybody that looks brown. I care more about what the president is doing to this country and the fact that food stamps are off the table for millions of Americans, 20 million plus losing health care coverage. Now, if you want to continue to talk about your religious system, I could care less what that is. I want to know how you can continue to defend and support the man that is in charge right now,
Okay, I'll tell you.
literally lies every single day.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
And it's why so many
Because
people-
any of the trivial things which you associate with Donald Trump,
it's not true.
any of the trivial attacks that you give to Donald Trump, You have not successfully yet engaged with my actual argument, which is just this, and it's a very simple argument. We're debating about worldviews right now. Your worldview is that Trump bad. I get that. I understand. You think Trump
Not my
bad.
worldview. Not my worldview.
Okay, well, you think Trump do bad thing. Okay, that's at least your worldview.
Not
So
Trump do bad things.
yeah,
okay?
Trump do
Let's
bad
not
things.
get
So
these
hang on, bro. Calm down. Calm down.
Characterize-
I'm almost done. It's Trump do bad thing. It's like, okay, I can grant that you believe Trump do bad things. But the thing is here is that because we're having a debate on our epistemology, which is our how we interpret knowledge itself, and what our actual ethical systems are, and how we interpret what's unethical and what isn't unethical. My simple based argument to you is I can grant all of these trivial things which you apply to Donald Trump. And even if I do, from my ethical worldview, which is just as valid as yours by your own admission, I should still support him because that would be the most ethical thing to do if 600,000 babies per year are dying. That's what I would love to have a counter
You're a
argument to.
one-position voter. You're a one-position voter. Why don't you just admit it? The
Well,
abortion
I'm not a
issue
one
makes-
position voter, but I would say that that's the most important
Okay.
position.
So if I can't come up with anything else because it doesn't rise as to your opinion of abortion and what Donald Trump has done overturning Roe versus Wade, then what are we here for?
Because you have
I'm
no,
very
because we're here to establish whether or not Christians are doing something unethical by supporting the Trump presidency. When hang on, stop. When from the Christian view, what could be more ethical than supporting somebody who rolled back Roe v. Wade, based on the trivial things that you attack Trump for? What?
I'm not necessarily saying that Christians are doing something unethical. I'm talking about how Donald Trump is doing things that are
I just lit my
unlawful.
cigarette backwards. That was unethical.
Unlawful. You can smoke as many cigarettes as you want, Andrew, and I'm not going to judge you on that. I made a joke earlier. I do that from time to time, like I did on social media. But the point that I'm trying to make here, which I think you're failing to understand, is that I'm not making the case that everybody who voted for Donald Trump is an unethical person. In fact, I have friends of mine who have voted for Donald Trump. I've dated women who have voted for Donald Trump. The case that I make is I think everybody has different reasoning. Some people might be a little ill-informed. Some people might be uneducated. Some people might not care. Some people might have boatloads of money and they know that Donald Trump is going to save them money on their taxes and they don't care how unethical he is. Everybody has different reasons for why they support Donald Trump.
I agree.
If your case that you're trying to make here today is everything that I bring up is super succeeded by the abortion issue, then it's very difficult. We disagree on abortion, okay? That's obvious, okay? We both disagree. You think it's murder based on your religion. I guess my question is, are you capable, Andrew, right now of having a man-to-man conversation with me?
That's what we've been doing.
Hold on. Let me just finish the sentence. Maybe putting religion off to the side, even though I know your Christianity is obviously very important to you. Are you capable of having a conversation without invoking religion? Can we do that?
My entire worldview is dependent upon Christian ethics. My whole worldview. Everything I believe is informed through Christian ethics, including how I interpret the world, how I interpret logic, how I interpret philosophy, how I interpret epistemic claims, ontological claims, how I interpret cosmological claims. All of those things are informed by Christianity and Christian ethics, including my political takes. What you're asking me is to set aside the very value set which we're debating, which is, Andrew, under Christian ethics, what is the most important thing to support and why should Christians support Trump? I'm laying out a very clear and concise argument for why I think the most ethical thing that Christians can do is support the candidate which is pro-life and has been successful in rolling back Roe v. Wade, which can save up to 600,000 plus lives per year over the long term. So hang on. So if you think, though, that Christians have some alternative reason that trumps that from the ethical purview, that's your case to make, Ryan. You have to make the case for why I'm wrong about what I think Christians should be doing.
Let's talk about that. So you use the term pro-life, which I think is an absurd statement because most Republicans that are anti-abortion is the word I would use, not pro-life, like you. As soon as that baby is born, Republicans continually vote against government programs that can help that mother raise that child, whether we're talking about maternity leave, welfare, food stamps. Almost every, and by the way, Republicans have been trying to shut down unemployment benefits for years. So if you want to call yourself pro-life, which by the way I think is a joke based on policies put forth by Republicans, it's not pro-life to take away food stamps from people. It's not pro-life to take away Medicaid from people. It's not pro-life to give the top 1% the biggest tax breaks in American history, which is $100 billion this year. You know what pro-life would be? Taking that $100 billion, if you're so anti-abortion, and helping women raise children. Okay? That would be pro-life. Everything that the Republican Party stands for after the baby is born is anti-life, as I just laid that out. So don't give me this BS of this pro-life
Well,
stuff.
that's funny, Brian, because
You're
I
pro-life
did raise children, and you criticized me for it. So I just want to point that out.
How many children have you adopted? There's 400,000 children right now that are waiting to be adopted. If you think abortion should be illegal, which obviously you do, we would have millions of children right now waiting to be adopted. Andrew, how many children have you adopted?
There's not a single baby put up for adoption who's not adopted, Brian. Not one.
Andrew, how many? There are hundreds of thousands of kids right now that are still being
There's not a single baby.
Brian,
there's not a single baby put up for adoption that's not adopted. Not one.
Okay, so there are not hundreds of thousands of kids right now that are not waiting for
So
foster
this happens often due to like abuses in the home or due to things like this where they're mentally challenged. But babies themselves, if mothers put the baby up for adoption, they're always adopted. In
So how
fact,
many
there's a
children
massive
they have?
In fact, there's a massive waiting list for adoptions of babies. There's not enough babies to meet the demand of good Christian people who are adopting them, Brian. What happens though is that sometimes in families, right, including secular families, especially secular families, or non-Christian families, you often do find the conditionals where massive abuse happens, kids become mentally disturbed, and they become reliant on state institutions because they often are abused even in state institutions, okay? And yes, of course, Christians have a big heart. We've been taking care of those people for years and years and years. Before the state ever involved themselves in those programs, Brian, the Catholic Church in their outreach, and by the way, still is the case, was the largest in the outreach program of taking care of these children in orphanages and other things like this. The state has routinely done a terrible job at this. Your chances of being abused inside of state institutions, even if you're in an abusive family, is actually much higher. Even if you're taken out of a abusive family, put into a state institution, your chances of being abused are much higher. That's the crazy part. So from an ethics perspective, this is an insane argument that you're making, and it makes no sense. Of course I'm pro-life. You can't say I'm not pro-life because I refuse to murder a person, because I then won't add to the conditionals of giving them a free hand their entire life after that. That's absurd.
Is it pro-life to be against maternity leave? Is it pro-life to take away food stamps and welfare?
Can be, sure. For one thing, welfare creates... Yes, it can be, of course. Welfare creates massive dependency issues. And by the way, a lot of the things that people are buying with their welfare food stamps, totally unhealthy for them, packed full of fructose corn syrup, packed full of all kinds of horrible things. And anytime, and hang on, Brian, let me just point this out, okay? Why is it that you say that it's not the pro-life position for me to say you can't murder children, right? But for some reason, your position is the contrary one. You should murder children if you won't take care of everybody's children indefinitely. That's your position. That's the logical entailment of your position, sir.
Nope,
yes,
you're totally
it is. How is that not the logical entailment? Is it better then, Brian? Is it better for a woman to abort a child she can't afford than it is for her to have it?
It's not the decision for a middle-aged white.
That's not what I asked you. Answer the question I asked you. Is it better or not? Is it better or not for her to abort the child?
In certain situations, especially when you're the victim of rape or incest.
No, you're not a victim of rape or incest. Is it you purely on financial terms? You just feel like you can't afford the child. Do you think that if a woman decides to go ahead and end that pregnancy, that's totally fine and viable?
Are we talking about late-term abortion or early-term abortion? What month are we talking about?
Whatever month, I don't care. Second month, month 2.
I know. According to my system, that's okay with me.
Yeah, right. So then your position is actually, the logical entailment is, you're more pro-life than me, even though you will say to a woman, hey, if there's a financial burden here that you think you can't set, go ahead and kill the kid. That's the most anti-life position.
You didn't let me even answer the question. So I believe every situation is different. It's obviously a very difficult situation that a woman has to make. And I would never, ever, as a middle-aged white dude who doesn't know what it's like to be pregnant, tell a woman what to do with her own body. Now, if you're comfortable in doing so by your system, then go ahead and feel that way, Andrew. I disagree with you. I don't want to tell women what to do with their bodies. However, I will say this.
You tell women what to do with their bodies all the time.
I tell women what to do with their bodies all the time.
Yeah, sure.
I do. How so? Tell me.
Well, for instance, do you think that women should be able to just walk around naked?
I'm not the one who put that law on
I'm
the books.
asking you, do you think that women should just be allowed to walk around naked?
I think everybody should be allowed to probably walk around naked.
Should they be able to
honest.
walk around naked at schools?
Well, that's going into a different category. We have laws in this. By the way, that's not a woman's body. That's what putting over her body. We're talking about what we put inside our body, what we do inside
No,
our
that's
body.
all part of your body. You don't. You,
Okay,
it's all
suppose
part of
you're
your
part of
body.
your Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so if I put on a hat, that's part of my body.
Yeah,
my
that's your head is definitely part of your body, bro.
Okay, so hold on. Let me just get this right.
Well,
According
if I
to Andrew,
mandate what you do
Hold on,
with your
hold on,
body,
hold on,
yes.
hold on. So if I have AIDS, if I put on a shirt, my shirt has AIDS.
Oh, you're making a category error.
You realize how stupid you sound?
You just made a category error, Brian.
You're saying that my
should
shirt is a part is my body.
Hang on. I'm sorry, Brian. What would your argument be if the government said you had to wear a silly hat? They mandated you had to wear a silly hat.
That's not my body, Andrew. That's
Okay,
not
so
what
what would your argument? What would your argument be that the government shouldn't be allowed to make you wear a silly hat?
What would be my? It's a ridiculous.
Now, answer the question, please. What would your argument be?
Okay, so I'll answer it, but I just want to be clear here. We're talking about abortion.
Well,
and
now we're
Andrew-
talking about bodily autonomy.
Yeah, and Andrew's trying to make the case with what clothes we wear and what hats we wear. It's a ridiculous question.
No,
Is
it's
it my
not.
body, my choice, or not? Answer that
No.
question when it comes to vaccines.
No.
Is it my body, my choice?
Well, when it comes to vaccinations, again, we're in a different category. And the thing
Is it
is,
my body, my
yeah, the
choice?
thing is that here, when you're talking about this, I'm just asking you a simple logical question.
I've
Do
been
you
doing
think
that
that it's
forever.
okay to mandate what clothing, or that people have to wear clothing? Do you think that's okay to do?
In certain situations, I don't have a problem with that.
Right. So,
but I
and the
don't
reason is because you think that there's some limits which can be put on autonomy, bodily autonomy. In this case, you have to wear garments when you go outside. You have to, right? You and I can agree to that.
When you're in private, you can do whatever you want. But as far as clothing goes, when you're outside of your home, it's completely different. When we're talking about a woman's body and we're talking about abortion, we're not just talking about in the home. We're talking about her entire life.
Yeah,
It's
we're talking.
completely
Well, we're talking in
that you're
terms of an innocent life versus a non-innocent life, and we're
Well,
asking.
your
The,
definition of
you have
life
to
is
understand
different.
from our. I'm going to explain my view. From your view, when you talk about SA, a woman being raped, which is a horrible thing, and then they become pregnant for it. The argument that you make that she should then be allowed to abort is akin to making an argument to me that a mother got raped and then just went home and killed her son. It's the same argument from my view. You're basically saying you are now allowed to kill based on an egregious action happening to you. So because of that, that's the logical entailment from my view.
We always go back to your definition of what killing is and my definition of what killing is are very, very
How are we
different.
supposed to have a debate unless we can get the semantics straight, understand each
It's
other's
very
views,
simple,
and
Andrew.
then
It's
attack
very-
those views?
It's very simple. You would consider if I went out on the street right now and I shot up a bunch of people, the same as if a woman gets an abortion and kills somebody. It's a very different definition, murder, between yours and mine. I've tried to establish that.
Okay,
for you.
what's your definition of murder?
My definition of murder, if it cannot survive outside the womb, then it is not a human being. That is my personal opinion. Now,
And what about somebody on a life support machine? Are they a human being?
somebody outside a life support machine is already outside the womb and at one point in their life was able to survive. That is why when somebody is on, I'm
Oh.
so glad you asked that. When somebody is on life support,
Yeah.
the next of kin in many cases can make the decision with doctors on whether they should pull the plug or not. There's a reason for that. And the reason for that is because there might not be any brain activity.
That's not
okay?
always the case that,
Right,
that
it's
family
not
members
always-
get to. And but
it's
by the
not-
way,
not always.
let me point this out. You're making the same exact comparison. In this case, the womb is the life support machine. For some reason, though, you just exit the human element from the human being. That's the crazy part. And so the thing is, Brian, is like, look, I'm willing to agree with you that you 100% do not believe that this is a human life and that there's no ensoulment or whatever it is your argument is. But when we're having an ethics debate, we're doing it from two separate views. I'm using my Christian view. You're using the Brian Shapiro preference view. In your preference, in your ideology, this is not a life, so therefore it's totally fine. And in mine, it is. But you're supposed to be demonstrating the case for why people who agree with me, who are Christians, shouldn't value this higher than whatever your trivial criticisms are of Trump when it comes to the death of this many children from our view. Now, Brian, can you do that or not?
I'm not
You're
speaking
not.
to Christians.
Who are
and
you
I am
speaking
not-
to?
I'm speaking to you. Okay, I'm not speaking in general terms to all Christian people, or quite frankly, anybody that's supports Donald Trump. Every single time we get into a different conversation, it always goes back to your opinion on abortion. And by the way, you can say it's your system based on your religion, fine, but it's still your position. There are plenty of Christians out there that I've talked to that actually they don't believe that they should have abortions, but they don't want to tell other people what to do with their
Totally
bodies.
agree with you that those Christians exist, but now you're talking to a person
So
who represents
we
the
haven't-
Christians who don't believe that.
I know, but my problem with this is for almost an hour now, we've literally gone back to and continue to go back to the 600,000 children
That's
argument.
because it's my basis of my argument that you have not refuted.
First of all, you have the right to not want to have an abortion. I understand that your beliefs in Christianity tell you, or you believe in those. Nobody's telling you. That's
Yeah.
what you believe in Christianity, that abortion is murder. I fundamentally disagree with you.
I
Okay?
know.
Now, I could make the case that there are brilliant doctors out there that perform pregnancies every day that would probably disagree with you as well.
I agree with that as well. There are going to be.
Everybody has a different take on abortion. By the way, you're in the minority. Doesn't mean you're wrong if you're in the minority.
No, it doesn't.
But you're in the minority. Now,
No,
going back,
so Brian, but the thing is like the argument here, which is being made from the ethical viewpoint, is how is it that you can criticize the ethics of people like me who are acting within the confines of the worldview that we have, our Christian ethics, and we say this is more valuable than these
Hold on.
trivial things, which Brian...
I've got to
I
really
think-
quickly interrupt, guys. Just about 10 minutes left of back and forth, and then we're going to get into some super chats. Super chats that we're going to read out are going to be orange and up. If we do that. So, but if there's no good
I have about
questions coming,
Jake, I have about 35 minutes.
yeah. So if there's no good questions coming in, we'll just let the back and forth go.
Fair enough.
So go for it.
I just
Fair
want the counter argument. Do you not have a counter argument?
I have a counter argument to everything. And the first thing that I would say is very, very simple. I'm not saying that all Christians
Are we living
have
within
bad-
our values? That's my question. Are these Christians living within their values by valuing that?
Everybody has different value
I know.
sets and what they believe. Okay, I'm not saying, and you said something incorrect. I'm not saying every Christian that voted for Donald Trump doesn't have ethics. That's not what I am saying. The argument here is Donald Trump. I don't believe Donald Trump has ethics. Let me ask you a question. Are you okay being a Christian man, a president of the United States, selling Bibles? Is that ethically sound to you?
As opposed to like a regular fucking book company doing. Oh, sorry, regular book company doing it.
A regular book company is not the president of the United States. I'm asking you again. Are
Yeah,
you
I don't.
okay?
I don't
as a
care.
Christian man?
I don't care.
Okay, so ethically speaking, your system tells you you're okay with somebody as the president of the United States
Printing more
with,
Bibles. Yeah, I don't have a
making
problem with
money, making money off of selling the Bible. Are you okay? Fair enough. I can't believe you said that, but
that.
okay.
Why? Wait, hang on. Why would it be unethical for a person to make more Bibles?
So he's not making more Bibles. China is making the Bibles. Number two, he's teamed up.
Okay, so there's more Bibles being made because of Donald
Hold
Trump.
on, hold on. It's a business proposition with Lee Greenwood making millions of dollars off of making Bibles that are made in China for pennies on the dollar and then selling them for $60 a pop. Most people in society, no matter what religion you are, would say probably not.
Should
very
we
ethical.
lobby? Should Christians lobby then, Brian, that only Christians should be allowed to produce the Bible, and then the government enforce that?
Sure. Let me respond to that. So first of all, never did I say that any regular American.
I said should. I'm asking a should question. Should. Should.
I think that there should be rules in place where a politician can't make money off of their religion because they're in power. That's exactly what Donald Trump did after he won the election. I would also say that Donald Trump stood outside of a church. By the way, people who ran the church, who owned the church, did not want it there. They didn't give him permission to be there. He holds up a Bible upside down. Donald Trump every day. This should be important to you, right? Because this is part of your system. He claims the Bible is his favorite book. To this day, he has never been able to recite one verse in the Bible. Is that ethics? Is that to say that this is your favorite?
Yeah. So
is that
so hang on. So there's people I know who've been Christians their whole lives who have a terrible time recalling specific passages from the Bible, but can tell you the story in great detail. So like, hang on. I'll give you an example of this. I'll give you an example, Brian. Have you ever read The Lord of the Rings?
No, I haven't.
Okay, what's your favorite book?
The way you make excuses for Trump is
I'm
so
not making an
ridiculous.
excuse. I'm making a logical argument.
I know
Brian, chill out, Brian. Brian, chill out. Brian, what's your favorite book?
I don't know. Did you write a book, Andrew? I'll say it's one of your books. I don't know.
You don't have a favorite book?
Probably John McEnroe's book was probably one of my favorites.
What's your favorite quote from that book?
When he talked about his
No. I want the exact quote.
Sure. When I screwed up, I lashed out at people, and I was wrong.
Okay,
That's
and
one
then
quote from the
what
book.
chapter and verse was that?
It wasn't. There's no verses.
Well,
in the
just
book.
paragraph-wise. Just what chapter and then what paragraph was that in?
Sure. I don't know what paragraph it is, but I will say I'm not selling John McEnroe
Right.
books, and I'm not there saying it's
So,
my favorite.
right. The reason for this, Brian, is because you're not
Like you-
extending. Hang on, you're not extending any grace here. If I use the same standard that you're using, right, and then apply it to you, what's your favorite book, and then what's your favorite quote, and then where can I find it? You also can't recall.
Right. So let me respond to that. First of all, I'm not the president of the United States. Hold on. I know you want to interject. You just said that I know people that can't remember. Okay. First of all, Andrew, there are different standards. We are not talking about people, and we are not talking about Brian Shapiro, the radio host. By the way, I don't sell books. I never have. But if I did decide to sell a book, and I claimed that it was my favorite book, and I was making millions of dollars selling that book, I probably would be able to know everything about that book. Multiple times, Donald Trump, holding the Bible upside down in front of a church, by the way, can't recite one verse in the Bible. I'm not making money off a book, and I'm a radio host, dude. He's the president of the United States, and this is where it comes from ethics that you like to bring up. When you become the president and you have a huge platform, and you use that platform to make money, in this case, off of selling a Bible, is not ethically sound to anybody that is honest. You are not being honest right now on your show or whatever show we are on. And this is why I say when you put that cross around your neck and you talk about Christianity and you claim you have absolutely no problem with your liable sexual abusing friend who sells the Bible and is profiting off of religion. It's pathetic and it's insane. And you guys curl yourself.
Do you see how none of this? But do you see how none of this is an argument? It's all just. It's
absolutely an argument. It shows that you don't have
Brian, calm down. Just let you go.
It's an argument.
Right?
It's an argument to let you know.
It's not an argument. It's you're reverting.
Let you know you're
Brian,
embarrassing
calm down.
Let you
Calm down. Stop spurging, Brian. It's my turn, Brian. Stop spurging.
Calm down.
Okay, so
Calm down.
So listen, the thing is, man, is that no, the case is that you just gave me another triviality. For instance, Brian, if you hold the Bible upside down when you pick it up, why is that actually a problem from Christian ethics?
Okay, sure.
So
Let's
hang on. Brian, stop. I want you to actually answer the question I asked you like I just answered yours. Why is that actually a problem from Christian ethics?
Sure. I will tell you why I think most Christians would say it's a problem.
No, just this. I want you to repeat the question so I know you know the question.
I'm answering it.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's not just holding the Bible up.
So that's not a problem from Christian ethics.
Let's just say it was an honest mistake. Let's just assume, for argument's sake, Andrew, that he made an honest mistake and the Bible was being held upside down. Okay, let's give you that argument.
Okay.
He was standing in front of a church where the owners of that church did not want him there, and he used it as a photo opportunity.
So what?
That's not ethically sound.
Why?
It is disturbing.
What's unethical about that?
Because you're using the church as a background, and the owners of that church did not want him there and didn't want to use their church to be used for political
Are you
gain.
saying that Trump was trespassing or something?
Never said he was breaking the law. Follow with me, Andrew. Pay attention.
So then, hang on. So then, your criticism of him is he wasn't breaking any laws, but he used a backdrop.
My criticism
That's
is
your criticism. He used a backdrop.
just like the Bibles, or holding a Bible upside down, or not being able to cite a verse in the Bible. I go back to what I originally.
These are all
was saying.
arguments from incredulity. They're fallacious arguments.
In your position, in your argument, it's fallacious. Most people, by the way, if we're going to use the term fallacious, I think there's a lot of people that wear the Donald Trump e-pads 24/7 that can't call out anything that he does or says, and you go back to the
Yeah, but what
abortion
you
issue.
just made, I'm letting you know, what you just did was you made multiple arguments from incredulity. You didn't actually make any and by the way, these are logical fallacies. You're just saying, I'm incredulous, don't believe he's a real Christian, because this one time he held up the Bible and it was upside down, and he used a backdrop for a photo. That's a very trivial attack. That's one. And then two, hang on, man. And then two, the other big problem that you have here is that that's not positive proof or evidence that Donald Trump himself isn't a Christian. It's just you being incredulous. That's it.
Sure, that's your opinion, and I disagree. By the way, I'm not making the case that he's a bad Christian just because he held the Bible upside down and he sells Bibles. That's one of many, many examples that I can talk about. The way he talks about women, the way he talks about his own daughter, the way he treats people, going after our brave men and women in uniform, suckers and losers, the comments he made about John McCain, dodging the military multiple times. The man barely ever goes to church, if at all. Having
you see how you shotgun these? You won't go one point at a time. You just like shotgun everything.
Because here's why. You're the reason why I'm doing this, Andrew.
Yeah, because you're gish galloping, which is also a fallacious move.
Hold on. The reason why you keep using this term fallacious. I think the only person that might be performing verbal fellatio on Donald Trump is you, but we can go to that later.
Oh, you got him. You got him, Brian.
The reason why, okay, I'm doing this is because you named one thing. You're saying he's not a fake. You're saying he's a fake.
I'm just going one point at a time.
Wait. You're saying he's a fake Christian because he held a Bible upside down for a photo op. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm collectively putting all.
Then go 1 point at a time. Let's do 1 point at a time.
I can happily do that.
Then let's do it.
You were making the case, and you were making it sound like I'm only saying he's a fake Christian.
No, well, what I'm saying is that each point that you make, right, it seems that most of the attacks are very trivial and made from the position of incredulity. You're not, in other words, you're not actually giving us a standard. Hang on, Brian, just chill out. You're not giving us a standard at all for why it is, one, that these things are bad from the Christian worldview, and for two, you're not giving us anything other than you're just incredulous that a real Christian does X. It's a no true Scotsman fallacy on top of it. So
now I know.
So help me out. Let's go to the next one. You were saying sexual molestation or something.
Let's talk about that. Okay. So over 1,000 children have been molested by the clergy, and I know it was a huge cover-up. So I don't want to talk about.
No, let's talk about it.
But let's talk about.
No. Hang on. First of all, hang on. You just made a claim. First of all, Brian, that's Roman Catholicism. I'm an Orthodox Christian, Eastern Orthodox Christian, not a Roman Catholic. And secondly, Brian, if you want to bring up the molestation scandals of the Catholic Church, then you need to bring up the molestation scandals of public schools. And once you realize that in public schools, you're almost 100 times more likely, and I can give you the study on this, to get molested under the state institution than you are in a private Catholic school, you realize something very important. Predators go where the children are. And it doesn't matter if that's in a state institution or the Boy Scouts, a private club, or if it's in a religious institution, it doesn't matter. Predators are going to go where they have access to kids. Sure, and you are trying to lay this fallaciously at the feet of one organization while sparing the other that you would recommend those kids engage with.
This is really important. So I know, Andrew, you do a lot of debates, but this is a perfect example of what I do. I teach this in my class, by the way, the definition of whataboutism. So I never made the case that kids aren't molested in schools. Kids are molested in every facet of life. It's terrible. I know we agree it should not happen. I wasn't making the case that it doesn't happen elsewhere.
You started with whataboutism.
Hold on. I wasn't making the case that it doesn't happen anywhere else. All I was simply saying is there was a big cover-up, and sadly, many children were molested in the clergy. Now, with that being said,
the whataboutism, though.
Now, with that being said,
that was the whataboutism. You said, "What about kids in the Catholic Church?" What does that have to do with the debate? That was the whataboutism, Brian.
I'll tell you what it has to do with the debate.
You use the fallacious argument.
I'll tell you what it has to do in the debate, because you're alt-righteous Christian man, right? And Christianity and everything's perfect. But
nobody said that. That's a straw man.
Yep. Okay. Well, Donald Trump bragged about going into teenage girls' locker rooms in a sexual manner on the Howard Stern show. He was running the pageant. These were teenage girls, 3 of them have come forward in interviews. Now they're adult women and said, yes, this did happen. This is how it happened. In Donald Trump's own words, he went into that beauty pageant locker room without their permission.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's not true? Or let's just start there. Is that not true, what I just said?
Well, I mean, I think that he did make this admission on Howard Stern's show. Yeah. I think it's pretty gross.
It's pretty gross. Okay, thank you. We agree on that. Now, I'm not saying every human being is perfect. My vote for Joe Biden was an anti-Donald Trump vote. My vote for Kamala Harris was an anti-Donald Trump vote. Taking aside the abortion issue, which I know is very important to you. I get that. We've been through that. What has Kamala Harris done in her life? Can you name me one thing she's done in her life that rises to that level of bragging about going into a teenage? Go ahead. Go ahead.
She advocates for the solidarity of an amendment to protect abortion for women, which would lead.
I just said aside from abortion,
would lead to
name something else.
What would be more important than that, though?
Okay, Andrew, I understand your take on this. We've talked about this for an hour.
Yeah,
and a half.
but do you understand that this is a trivial that what you're doing again is okay? But here, I'll just make the direct comparison. Let's say, for instance, I wouldn't say that I have something as personalized as that, like an affair that she had or something like this, that I would put at the same level or say it's as gross as the locker room thing. Okay. But don't you understand that that is very trivial? And the expectation of asking me, but Andrew, you and Christians like you should still support this candidate, even though this candidate's going to do X, which is completely against your view.
I didn't say you had to support Kamala Harris. All I said was you support Donald Trump.
Yeah, but that would be what I'm trying to get is the concession from you that from my worldview, that would be the most ethical thing to do.
Well, from your worldview, which I disagree with, but the point that I'm trying to make.
But you would admit that that would be the most ethical thing to do.
It always goes back to the abortion issue with you. And I asked you to name me something else, a reasoning, but besides the abortion issue, and then you name the something else involved with abortion. Can you name me one other thing? I understand your position on abortion. You think it's murder. Okay, I get it. Disagree with you? I get it. Can you name me something else?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't say that there's a specific thing. I think you can do the heels up Harris thing, but that you can easily counter it with, well, Trump had affairs. Hang on. Well, Trump had affairs. And I'd be like, well, that's true. And it is trivially true that this is a very gross thing that Trump did. But from my viewpoint, we're still looking at what is the most ethical thing that people who have my viewpoint and share my ethical standard, what is the thing which would convince us to move towards Donald Trump as the president rather than his opposition, in this case, Biden or Kamala Harris, who would be a continuation of Biden's policies, essentially. That would be what? It would be that, hey, this person would move towards the movement to have hundreds of thousands more children murdered from our view yearly. And I just think that you just won't take that into account because you have no counter argument for it, Brian.
I do. I've given you my counter argument on why I disagree with you on abortion.
Because you just don't think so. That's it.
No. This entire debate has been about your opinions on abortion being murder, and every single time I bring up something Donald Trump has done, Donald Trump has said.
Well, right now, let's figure out your view here on this. I think that that's important. Why isn't abortion murder?
My personal opinion, and by the way, I'm not in the minority on this opinion. I want to be very clear on that.
But why does the appeal to the majority matter?
Well, you're in the minority on this position, and I think you're making.
Why does that matter?
Because you're making it sound like I'm the one that is not being. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm the one that's being.
I'm just asking you what makes it not murder, and you appeal to the majority.
So, in my personal opinion, I do not believe it is a life. I mean, you think a clump of cells is a life. I disagree with you. People in your religion believe that.
Well, wait a second. The scientific definition is that it is human life at conception.
Okay. So if that's the case, then why do we allow all these cells to die in a woman's body then? Why don't we do something about that?
What do you mean?
Well, there are a lot of cells in a woman's body.
Because it's unique. This is a unique life. That's why.
Oh, okay. So those other cells
aren't unique. Brian, when does life begin?
Well, hold on. Those other cells aren't unique? Only the cell that is used.
They're not unique to a new life, no.
I see. Okay, so all the cells that are in a woman's body, and when all the eggs that are in a woman's body.
And these aren't cells, by the way. That's incorrect.
All the eggs in a woman's body that are not used.
Those aren't just cells. That's a complete. You're making an ontological distinction here. The category distinction is incorrect. That's not a cell. That's wrong.
Okay. So what
that's
about
a collection. That's again a collection of cells. So human life begins at conception. Hang on, scientifically begins at conception. All I need from you is to tell me when human life begins. When can we call it a life?
In my personal opinion, when it can survive outside the womb. That's my personal opinion.
Well, wait a second. Wait, hang on.
Mhm.
So what if the child is going to be born at 8 months but can't survive outside the womb without assistance? Can you abort?
What if a child is going to be born after 8 months?
Yeah.
Is that the
Yeah, but
question
can't
that you're
survive
asking?
outside of the womb without assistance.
I think there are different circumstances. Every circumstance is different, and I find it interesting that 89, 90 minutes into this debate, we're still talking about abortion, and we can't talk about more.
Well, I'm just talking about the views. I'm talking about the viewpoint distinction, because you're saying to me my ethical system makes no sense because it's against your preference. I just want to see if your preference is even consistent.
I'm gonna try to condense this into what we've done for almost 2 hours right now. I brought up Donald Trump's sexcapades, unlawful acts. I've brought up the liable abuse.
Yeah.
I've brought up food stamps and policies that I think are really bad for the American people. And every single retort that you have given us goes back to abortion. Andrew, this is not a debate. I understand what your position is on abortion, and I'm happy to have this. I've had this conversation.
Why won't you just refute my argument then? What could be more important for Christians from an ethical purview than to support Donald Trump? What?
Your religion tells you that abortion is murder.
Yes.
Most people in this country disagree with you.
Yeah, but you can't appeal to the majority for your ethics. Your ethics come from you.
Okay. Every single time I bring up something ethically challenged when it comes to Donald Trump, you always go back to, well, that's not as bad as the abortion issue.
Yes, that's my argument.
Well, it's a ridiculous
Why
argument.
is it ridiculous? We're having an ethical debate here about whether or not, from my position, it's ethical for Christians to support Donald Trump as president or not. I give you the mega load of all arguments. Hang on, I give you the mega load of all arguments.
Okay.
When I give it to you, you have no response to the argument except to say, but Andrew, even though you've granted, for the sake of the debate, every single trivial kind of criticism that I could give Trump, and even granted those things are true, how could it trump this issue, right? When this issue would be the most important consistently and ethically for Christians, you have no argument. Hang on. And if that's the case, Brian, if that's the case.
I do.
Okay,
and I
what?
have.
What?
And
What is it? What is the argument? Tell me the argument.
You talk about 600,000, as you would call, innocent children that are murdered by abortion. How many people die of gun violence every year in this country? Do you have those statistics?
We can pull them up.
Okay. So a lot of people die.
About 2 more minutes, guys, and then we're going to go into some of these super chats.
Okay, fine. So the point that I'm making here is that there is one party that you are not a part of that wants to do something. It wouldn't be the end all and save everyone's life. But when I see children, I think you would agree with me.
About 46,000 a year.
Okay.
Firearm-related deaths.
Republicans? Okay, now whether
Suicide
it's
account for most of those.
Okay, whether it's 46,000 or 6,000 or 600,000.
Well, suicides account for a lot of those.
Okay, if you truly do care, I hope you do, about innocent lives that are lost, then why don't you care about Donald Trump and Republicans putting forth gun legislation or laws in the books that don't make it easier for bad people to get their hands on guns?
Because fundamentally, how could you make the claim, Brian, as you have many times, that Donald Trump is a fascistic dictator, right?
I've never used. Okay, this is another thing that I have a problem.
Hang on, Brian.
No.
You have.
No.
You said it earlier.
No, this is important. You
Okay.
said this on Piers Morgan, and you're a liar. Never once have I ever called Donald Trump a fascist.
Oh, okay.
You
A dictator?
are a liar.
Dictator?
You are a liar.
Okay, I'll retract it. If that's not the case, I'll retract it. What about dictator?
Well, I know, but you say things that are not true.
What about dictator? Have you used that term?
I said he's a wannabe dictator.
Okay, got it.
Hold on.
Wannabe
Based
dictator.
on the fact of how he treats dictators like Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin. What are the sanctions that Russia are giving up?
So if it's the case, hang on, Brian, back to this. Hang on, don't obfuscate. I'll retract it. If you haven't said fascist, I apologize. Right? If I got that conflated and I was wrong, I apologize. But you have said dictator, and probably that's where I'm getting it from. That's the word dictator. But why, if you have a wannabe dictator in office, would you want to give your guns to them?
So first of all, that's a ridiculous claim.
Can you answer the question? If you have a wannabe dictator in office, why do you want to give him your guns?
I am. Okay, so first of all, we're not giving our guns to Donald Trump. Here's what we would do. And by the way,
you're giving it to Trump's government.
See, here's the thing. Again, you're completely mischaracterizing. I never said we should give up all our guns. In fact, I am pro Second
We should
Amendment.
give up the most effective ones to the wannabe dictator?
Okay, so first of all, your definition of effective, I would love to know what that is. What I have said is this: we should change the age. So you don't even know my opinion on gun control. You just make stupid assumptions. Okay?
No, I'm asking you a question.
No, you didn't ask me. You made
Yes,
an
I did.
assumption.
I said, if it's the case that he's a wannabe dictator, why should we
No.
give him our guns, Brian?
And I never said that. It makes you sound like an imbecile.
You said he's a wannabe dictator, right?
Yes. Let me
Why
explain.
would we want to give our
what I
guns to a wannabe
we
dictator?
never said we should give up all of our guns. It's a stupid statement.
Just the
you
best
made.
ones to a
That's not
wannabe
my position.
dictator? You just want
I
us to give
said
us the best ones?
Make the age 18 to 21. I think we should have more money being put forth towards people that are mentally ill. So bad people that are mentally ill do not get their hands on guns. I think there should be a training course, a minimum 2 to 4 hour course, so we can train everybody on how to use a gun, how to hold a gun, how to shoot a gun, and how to store a gun. If you just gave me a couple of those things, I believe it wouldn't end all the gun violence in this country. That'd be a ridiculous claim, but it would save lives. And if
So
you
if
are
we did that for the First Amendment, it would save lives.
okay, if we do things to help save lives,
Yeah.
I want you to be.
Then why don't we do that
consistent.
with the First Amendment?
Why don't I ask? What do you think we should do about gun violence in this country? Should we do anything?
Yeah, but do you understand the criticism first? I'm asking you a question. Why is it that you don't think that we should go through training courses for the First Amendment when I can argue that through rhetoric and divisiveness, that actually kills more people yearly than gun violence does? So why is it for the First Amendment you don't think that there should be some kind of requirement or
So
a training course for you to exercise that right? I'm asking
Last
you,
answer.
why is it
last
that you
answer here, then
think...
we got to get into it.
Why is it
So
that
the
you
question-
think that we shouldn't have a training course for the First Amendment to exercise that right, but only the Second Amendment?
So you're talking about freedom of speech as compared to the Second Amendment and gun control, which is absurd. By the way,
That's not an argument.
actually-
That's just
by the
incredulity.
way, I do believe that things that are said on social media, I do believe that violent threats, things need to be monitored more closely, and I think the government needs to do a better job of that. I understand you have something called freedom of speech, and you can go on a public sidewalk and you could hold up a sign that says, you know, I want to kill somebody, or, you know, I don't think you can say that.
No, you
'cause
can't
that's a
say
threat.
that.
Yeah, that's a threat, but you can say I hate a certain race. You're allowed to do that on a public sidewalk.
Do you think you should be allowed to?
I think that is freedom of speech, but I also am okay with someone losing their job. There are still consequences for your words.
I see.
So there are still consequences for the words. For example, people that
Freedom
were
loving Brian.
people celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, I thought was wrong. Okay, I was emotional on the air. I called out people that were celebrating the death, and if they lost their job, quite frankly, I don't feel sorry for them. However, people like you and many others, correct me if I'm wrong, were saying the left is celebrating the death of Democrat officials are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. Not true. You couldn't name me one Democrat official.
When did I say that?
There are plenty of people on the right. If you didn't say that, okay. But there are plenty of people on the
All right,
right.
fellas, I do have to interrupt. There's never a good time to do this, but Brian's
Let
got a
Let me
hard out
finish.
in about
Can we
10
just
minutes,
finish one
and then
last point real quick?
I've got to read these super chats, but yeah,
All right.
make it real quick.
Real quick. So the thing is that this is what's so funny is that when it comes to amendments and things like this, I can argue other amendments which probably kill way more people than the Second Amendment, but you wouldn't want to regulate those. And
I would
the,
be
and the
happy to
thing
have that
is,
conversation.
yeah, and the thing
Happy to
is,
have
the
that
thing is, Brian, is that ultimately we have a right to defend ourselves, and the Second Amendment is there due to a tyrannical government. And your argument that Trump is a wannabe dictator, but we should turn in our guns, is stupid.
Never said that.
You did.
Again,
You just want to turn in types of
I
guns.
never
Yes,
said-
you do.
Yeah,
All right,
wanna
there's
be-
gonna be
hold on,
more-
hold on. 10 seconds here. I want to be clear. Andrew's lying again. I never said in the 4 or 5 things that I mentioned that we should all.
Should we
turn
have
in
an
our
assault
guns.
weapons ban, Brian? Should we have one?
Andrew's lying.
Should we have an assault weapons ban or not?
That's a fair conversation that I would
Just
be
answer
willing
the
to have
question,
with you.
yes or no?
Here's without-
Yes or no?
I'm indifferent to that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
All
Yeah,
right,
hide it,
indifferent
Brian.
is the
but
answer.
Andrew's
We've got to
lying.
move on. I've got to get to the extravaganza in 10 minutes, so we need to get through these. People have been sending in orange super
Go ahead,
chats,
Jake.
so I have
Go
to.
ahead, Jake. Yep.
Casa said, "Do you understand my feelings?" Trumped by 600,000 babies. Imperial Cantina said Trump's divisiveness kept Israel Iran escalating into open war. I believe under Kamala it would have. Shapiro,
Yeah.
you have to sell me the ketchup popsicle to my white suit, as it's unethical to support Trump if it saves lives.
Andrew has some very intelligent fans that are listening.
The Jabroni for 20 said Trump's brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, sister-in-law's friend rode an elevator with Epstein's father's brothers, nephews, second cousins, friends, uncles, sister-in-law. Boom, proof.
Yeah.
Can I respond to any of these?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
First of all, the idiot who just made that comment about Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein on tape said that Donald Trump was his best friend. Donald Trump in the Maxwell trial proved to be on the Epstein plane 8 times. I asked that imbecile who made that comment one question, which, by the way, Andrew it gave me ridiculous answers. Why are they treating Maxwell the way they are? Why are they giving her preferential treatment, unprecedented preferential treatment? Why have they not released the full video of the Epstein alleged suicide? Why is Donald Trump calling all of his supporters stupid for even talking about Jeffrey Epstein? So that imbecile who just made that stupid comment has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. This is a massive cover-up. One other thing. Why is it that Kash Patel was asked under oath 7 times? Did you tell Pam Bondi that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? And 7 times he wouldn't answer that question. I have the answer because it's a massive cover-up. So for that bozo fan of yours, he can burn in hell. Go ahead.
So you're a conspiracy theorist?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Not at
it
all.
sounds like a conspiracy
What did I say? That's a
theorist.
conspiracy.
Look, calm
What did
down,
I say?
Mrs. Owens. Calm down.
What did I say?
You
Mr.
just said that
Master
there's a
Debater?
massive cover-up and a conspiracy to cover up. Where's your proof?
Why wouldn't Kash Patel? Okay, give me an answer then. Why
That's
wouldn't Kash
not
Patel answer
you
that
making
question?
a case. That's you asking a question. What's the case?
Why wouldn't Kash Patel answer that question?
He
under
could
oath?
have very good
No.
reasons other than a
What
cover-up.
is it?
I don't.
What is it?
Why do I need to know them? You have
I'm
to.
asking you
It's
a
your
logical
burden of
question
proof.
which has nothing to do with your
It's
religion.
your
Why would Kash
burden
Patel
of
not answer that?
proof. Your burden of proof.
Answer the question. Why would Kash Patel
We don't
not answer that
know,
question?
but that doesn't mean there's a conspiracy.
You can't come up with a reason because you know
You
it's
don't
a
need
cover-up.
It's your burden of proof. You made the claim. It's a cover-up.
Moving
so
on
you
now, guys.
have to make
Sure.
the actual evidentiary claim.
I
Can
George
just-
you do it?
says Brian serves as one more tick in the list of leftists who actually appear not to be able to understand basic logical argumentation. Buddy, stop memorizing talking points. Learn some basic philosophy. Good Lord.
Yep. Let me speak to another one of Andrew's idiot listeners. First of all, I didn't vote for Barack Obama. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm for border security. I'm for capital punishment. I'm anti-Donald Trump. So for any of you morons out there that are listening to Andrew that think this is a leftist liberal, I'm anti-Donald Trump. But all of you imbeciles think that if somebody is anti-Donald Trump, by the way, there's nothing wrong with being a liberal, but I've been a registered independent my whole life. I voted for plenty of Republicans and I've supported plenty of Republicans in my life. So another moron listener. Go ahead next, Jake.
Yeah, it's funny though. You could never made a single counterclaim to my ethics
Your
claim
opinion. Your
for why
counterclaim
it is
to everything.
for why it is Christians shouldn't support Trump. You never made a counterclaim.
Andrew's counterclaim to everything is, but what about those 600,000 babies? So you're the last person who should be talking about counterclaims. You go back
You
to
have no
abortion.
ethical standards at all, Brian.
You're the guy who charges money to give debating lessons to people, right? You're the master.
And I just
debate-
gave you a free lesson, son.
Right. If you think this was a free,
Free
lesson,
lesson.
then
Yeah, it
you are
was.
living on cloud. You are living on cloud 9. I recommend that you continue to wear that fake cross around your neck because I think you're a fake Christian like Caroline Leavitt. All you talk about is abortion. You're not a good debater. You don't know what you're talking about. You use abortion to defend the worst things that Donald Trump has done and the worst things that said. We didn't get into policy because you're not capable of having a policy debate. We didn't get into humanizing someone. You're
Next
not
time,
even
have it.
capable-
If you want to have a policy debate, then next time ask for a
Oh,
policy
okay.
debate.
Yeah,
We were
and then
here
you'll go
to
back to
determine the
abortion.
ethics of supporting Trump.
and then you'll go back to abortion. This wasn't the ethics of supporting Trump. This was the
Literally,
ethics
that
of
was
Trump.
what we agreed to.
No,
the ethics
I
of
agreed
Donald.
to-
Yes,
John,
of
I
supporting Donald
agreed to-
Trump.
Talking about the ethics of Donald Trump and why I don't support him and why I struggle to try to realize why people continue to, like you, continue to defend. And I got my answer. Andrew,
Yes, and you
abortion-
never had a
abortion,
counter argument. You
abortion,
never had a
abortion.
counter argument.
With Andrew, it's abortion, abortion, abortion. You have
Maybe
no
we
other
can run it
counter
back at some
argument.
point, guys, and we can do the policy debate. But for now, NW8PP says, is it ethical to support Donald Trump? Yes. If the alternative is a movement that targets Christians, uses double standards, and rewrites history to blame people for things they didn't do. More ethical than supporting Kamala.
I would love. Notice how he didn't give one example of that, but another one of Andrew's brilliant listeners. Go ahead next.
These aren't
Relian
coming
says,
in on my
Brian,
channel,
is that,
dude.
Yeah, they're not coming into mine because I don't think am I even broadcast? I'm not even broadcasting on my own YouTube right now, so
You're
they're
welcome
not coming.
to post the
I-
debate. We'll send you the debate. I promise
I
you.
will. No, I appreciate that. Listen,
I'll send you it by email. Yep.
I appreciate the fact, Andrew, that you're willing to sit down and do these things, but I'd like to, if possible, I'd like to have a more debate of substance next time.
Next,
and not
well,
going
look, I prepare debates based on the topics that I'm given.
Brian,
Okay.
you can pitch any topic to me, and I'll pitch it to Andrew, and we'll see if we can get it done. Relian says, Brian, is there anything Trump could do to change your mind about him? My guess is that he could cure cancer tomorrow, and you'd still hate him.
Okay, well, first of all, that's another really stupid statement. Trump's not curing any diseases. He has Robert F. Kennedy Jr. In charge in a position that he should not be in charge of, and they're actually hurting people because of Kennedy being put in that position. Is there anything Donald Trump could do? Well, first of all, the election's over. Is Donald Trump going to be running for a third term? I know some of you probably would think that was okay. I don't know what Andrew's take is on that.
Of
but
course
I
not. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
It's a ridiculous claim made by ridiculous people.
I agree with you. I think there's a lot of. Why would he wear Trump 2028 then? Is that just a joke?
Yeah, it's a
Why would he
meme.
be selling-
You mean
Oh,
memeing?
okay. It's not an attack on our democracy. Hey, if
It's
Donald
not an
Trump,
attack on our
Donald Trump
democracy.
didn't lie about the 2020 election, does January 6th happen, Andrew?
Yeah. So first of all, let's talk about this attack on democracy thing. We have a republic. We were never intended to have an entrenched democracy of universal suffrage. That was not even how the country was set up. That's one. And two, originally presidents didn't even have term limits, which is hilarious that you guys are adamant at this, like it's some sort of republic function. And then thirdly, let me just point this out to you, that
I have
Trump
3 minutes.
is not going to run for a third term, you conspiracy theorist wacko.
Okay, so maybe you shouldn't sell memorabilia saying Trump 2028.
Because
but you
it's
didn't answer
funny.
my question.
Because it's funny.
Does January 6th happen if Donald Trump doesn't lie about the 2020 election? Yes or no? Yes or
What
no?
do you mean? Lie about it? How?
Does
Guys, we
January-
can't, I'm really sorry, but there's a bunch of
You do
questions. I
want
really
to
don't want to leave out
Okay,
anybody's
all right, no
questions
problem,
who
no
sent
problem.
them in. Project VOPod said, based on Brian's ethics, if society 100% decides that having intercourse with underage people is ethical, then why would that be wrong? If
not
Brian
even
says it's
gonna
wrong,
respond.
what standard would you have to come to that conclusion?
Somebody else with about a 25 IQ. I'm not even going to respond to that stupid statement. Andrew, does January 6th happen if Donald Trump doesn't lie about the 2020 election and say Joe Biden cheated and the Democrats cheated and it was rigged? Does January 6th happen? Yes or no?
Well, I'm not really sure the context here for what you're asking. Are you asking me like if Trump didn't make statements about this?
Yeah, if he conceded, do you think January 6th still would happen?
It's impossible for us to know. But the thing is that Trump himself, he told people to stand down, go home. He didn't do any of these things that you accuse
Yeah, he
him
told
of.
people to go home 5 hours after it already started.
Well, you would have to bear the
We gotta go.
you again bear the burden of proof
We
to
gotta
make the
go. Well,
demonstration.
The burden of proof is it took him 4.5 hours to put out a video. Listen, I only have about a
Oh
minute.
no.
I'm going to try to be nice here. Okay, Andrew? I'm going to try to be nice. I appreciate you doing this. I like a good debate. I think this is something that we do have in common, is that we like to have political discourse. It's the one thing that I probably had in common with Charlie Kirk. I like having conversations with people that I disagree with. I think you're the same. I think maybe next time we could do it maybe in a more productive fashion. We can talk about
Well, just
that.
pick a different. If you want to do a different prompt, do a different prompt.
Okay, I'm totally okay
And
with
you
that,
can lose
Andrew.
on that one too.
Okay, well, again, that's your opinion, just like your opinion on abortion. And
Well, you
your
have no
opinion-
ethical system.
Maybe
dude.
you're listen. According to Andrew's Christian, background and values, it says that he has to agree that he won every debate.
No, you
I
just
understand
don't have any ethical system. You have no.
Well, again, the guy who is a Donald Trump supporter who supports a liable sexual abuser wants to preach to me on ethics.
Yes,
And
I do
so-
want to preach to you on ethics. Yes,
Okay, yeah, I
because
do.
you
I
don't
do.
know
All right,
anything about them.
You're right, Andrew. Telling a woman to lick schniz is very ethical in a debate. You're right, Andrew. You're very ethical.
Yeah,
okay?
telling your
a woman-
girlfriend to kill herself, that was very ethical.
I never told any girlfriend to kill herself. I have no
Hey,
idea what you're
I don't
talking
know.
about.
I
That
don't
is
know.
a lie.
Hey, that's
That
just
is
what
a
I. That's
lie.
just what I heard.
What girlfriend did I say should kill herself?
I
What
don't
did
know.
where
Hey,
did I
that's
say
just what I heard.
don't
I'm just
know.
going to
Okay,
repeat
that's
things I heard.
Good way to get sued for defamation. I didn't hear it. I watched it. You told a woman to lick schniz. So don't you give me this.
Is that
BS
it?
about-
Like you want to make things personal, and then the second I
No,
fire
all right,
back, you get
Andrew,
upset?
Andrew, have a nice day. I never told anybody in my life to kill themselves. You're a moron and
Oh,
you're a liar.
okay.
Take care.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you too.
Okay, well, I do apologize for all the people who left in super chats there and didn't get them read out, the orange and above. I have to get to the extravaganza. Take care of yourselves. We'll line up another debate with him, Andrew, if he wants to do it. But,
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to go now.
Well, I mean, what do you expect, man? He is a schniz. I mean,
I'm the moderator. Stop it.
well, look,
Sneeze is
the thing
crazy.
is like these people always want to do attacks, and then you hit back, and they get upset. And it's like, just don't fucking do attacks. Just
Yeah.
don't try to fucking do attacks that aren't pertinent to the debate, and nobody will do them back.
Yeah. Anyways, I've got to get to the extravaganza, guys. Really sorry about those super chats. And I'm going to be streaming tonight as well. Your debate with on Piers Morgan and the Fuentes Alex Jones stuff as well should be fun. So I'll see you guys later.
See you later. Sneeze. He was acting like a sniz. Rage quit. Look, I don't know what the thing is like the guy couldn't help himself. The guy couldn't fucking help himself. It's like you can't just stick to the debate prompt. What me saying that you lost the debate? It's like, oh yeah, well this is why it is. It's like, well, you're gonna go there, we'll fucking hit back. Cool VC and 1SB, thank you. Appreciate it. Very kind of you. Now send me my money. Send me my money.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my underground lair.
Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. him.
potential customer! Glad I could help!
Finish him. 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 Finish him.
You've got mail.
Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my underground lair.
Killing spree. Finish him. Rampage. Finish him. Unstoppable ultra kill. Finish him. Dominating. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Finish him. Godlike. Finish him.
Vengeance is mine! You will show the proper respect!
Finish him. Finish him.
Vengeance is mine!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my underground lair.
Incoming care.
got mail.